Yeah, so welcome everybody to the November AOSP and AAOS meetup. Gosh, we've been doing this for a year and a half, a little bit more than a year and a half, and it's still going strong. In fact, the number of people signed up to this meetup group now is past 450. I see over 60 people RSVP'd to this meetup. So this could be one of our biggest meetups so far. So great, and thank you all very much for putting effort in to logging on and listening to us, and especially to the speakers who put time and effort into preparing presentations.
Yeah,
so
big fan.
Hello, was that somebody? Okay, I think somebody may have their microphone. Whoops, didn't mean to do that. Okay, I'll carry on. So yes, so here's the agenda. Starting off with me chatting, and then we have Eric working with custom Android devices, followed by adventures with Systrace. That's the shortened title that Stefan gave me. And then we have some time for Q&A and just general networking, and then we'll do the wrap up, and we will finish no later than 8 p.m. UK time, whatever that translates to in your local time. I've got a couple of things that I want to mention, however, before we do go any further. So you will have noticed probably that Android 14 was released a couple of months ago. And I had intended to give, a complete teardown of Android 14, but it turns out I haven't really had time to do that. So I just have some very minimal observations here. Probably my main observation is that having had a quick look at it and built a few images and tried them out, there doesn't seem, at the surface level at least, to be anything particularly different about it. My device builds work pretty much the same as they used to, and there are some things which I'll come to in a moment. So the reliability of the build seems to be a little bit less. I'll come to that in a moment. So I did actually have a look through the release notes, and I picked out a couple of things that I thought looked interesting. One of them is the continuing migration from HIDL to AIDL, or from idle to idle, as the Americans would put it. So amongst other things, then the audio, how the Wi-Fi vendor, how the thermal, how the TV, how have all migrated to AIDL. In my opinion, that's a good thing. It's nice to have just one standard rather than two standards. So hopefully there will be no HIDL howls left and we can just forget about it. There's a comment about Vulkan. Vulkan 1.3 is now supported and mandatory for new devices launching with Android 14. There is a new system property called persist.debug.dalvik.vm.jdwp.enabled. That's a lot of dots. To control whether JDWP is enabled by default or not, which is handy. And there is a comment which I think says JDK 17 is now supported. There is also a release of Android 14 for automotive. And again, there is some release notes specific to automotive. Now, one of the things that kind of bugs me, and as sure bugs all of us, is that Google don't release images for Android Studio for automotive until some months later. However, we do have Al Sutton and Snap Automotive who do this for us. So if you want to run Android Automotive demo in Android Studio, follow that link there, and that will tell you how to do it and how to install it. One thing I noticed So I've been talking for a long time about how it would be really nice to have multi-user Android so that within your vehicle, you can have not only a driver, but also passengers. And some of this was added in way back in Android 12, I think. There are some comments and things which I've been mentioning, but they've never actually worked very much. But I understand now that in Android 14, they kind of do work. So it says Android Automotive multi-user on multiple displays. Caution, the features are experimental, blah, blah, blah. And then it says a new experimental feature in Android 14 allows full secondary users, who are not the current foreground user, to launch activities and get access to the UI on the display to which they are assigned. This feature enables multiple concurrent users in Android Automotive to support in-car experiences that provide multiple passengers with dedicated UIs. So we're getting closer. Maybe Android 15 will have full support for passenger displays. We'll see. Would be nice. Of course, the downside of this, which they don't quite mention, is that in order to run multiple concurrent users on Android, you're going to need a pretty powerful head unit, and you're going to need tons and tons of memory. So the downside of this is that your hardware or the hardware costs are going to go up. Still, we shall see. Next little thing I want to mention, Android devices. So I started a conversation actually a little while back, actually on LinkedIn and also on Mastodon, saying, so what does Android run on? And I've started collecting things together, and it's one of my kind of background projects is to keep this up to date. So there's a link, and if I can find the right thing to work, which is probably this one here. There we go, yes. So Android in the wild. So this is at the Android and AOSP web page. And I've started documenting, like I say, everything I can find out about Android devices that are not mainstream devices. So basically, I'm looking for everything that is not generally supported. So Google support, phones, tablets, TVs, automotive, and wearables. So I'm looking for stuff that's kind of outside of that. And this comes into what I call embedded Android, in other words, Android embedded inside a device. And so I started doing this. Now, this has not gone particularly well. So this is very much a work in progress, so much so that I've probably redefined the words work and progress. But I will continue and see if I can make more progress over the next few days. Mostly, I've got to say, the problems I have are with layout using Markdown as a layout language. So this is just my inexperience, really. So what I've got then is I just started filling this in. So the categories I have: test and measurement, things like oscilloscopes, e-bikes and e-scooters. A lot of these are running Android for the display. Point of sale has always been a big thing. So Verifone and Zebra have various point of sale equipment. A lot of the stuff you use in the supermarket to scan your groceries or whatever, probably it's running Android. Exercise machines, Peloton famously run Android in their kind of tablet style touchscreen interface. And this is just one I found whilst out and about. Young German company have this door access, or this building access system, and at least some of the UI is based on Android. So if you know of similar things and you would like me to add them to the list, let me know, send me an email or contact me via any other means. And yeah, I would like to expand this and have a kind of a nice gallery of all, not all, but a representative selection of things that run Android. Excuse me. General things which I do every meeting. So we have the main website, AOSP and AAOS.github.io, page of which I just showed you. We have the meetup group, of course. We have this Slack workspace, which I kind of want to get rid of, but haven't quite got round to. But I really want, the idea is to have some kind of medium where we can kind of communicate with each other in between meetups. I don't want this to be purely just about the meetup. And then finally, I'd like to first of all give a plug for the next meetup. So the January meetup will be on the 24th of January. Now, this is breaking the rule that it should be the third Wednesday of the month, but January doesn't really get going for a week, I reckon. So I set it for the fourth Wednesday in January. Hope you can all make it. And also, I want to open this up. Is anybody here or anybody in the group going to FOSDEM? So FOSDEM, free and open source meeting, a lot of open source people there. It's the first weekend in February, and it's held at the Université Libre de Bruxelles in Brussels. It's a great thing to go to. If you've never been to, it's really fantastically good, in my opinion. It's free, so you just rock up, go to any meetings you like. But it's also a really good meeting place for all the other people who may be working in your area. Anyhow, I just thought if anybody from the list is going, it'd be nice if we could actually meet up and just kind of say hi to each other and maybe eat a waffle. There's lots of Belgian waffles, of course, lots of friet, mule friet, and of course, Belgian beer, which is very good. Anyway, if you're going, let me know, and I'll see if I can arrange something. We'll meet up somewhere and do something. Not quite sure what.